Well, isn't this a fascinating turn of events? As it seems the Academy has clearly fallen in love with Roma. Wow! It dominated the nominations this morning, and the biggest surprises being its two acting nominations. Muscling out people like Emily Blunt. It's amazing. And it creates a wonderful Cinderella story for Yolita Aparicio, and we'll talk about that when we get to the Best Actress category. But we all know, I've told you before, how much Hollywood loves a good Oscar story, and Roma is delivering multiple ones. Wow! All right, now this is probably going to terrify all the other movies as they scramble for what Oscars they can get in the wake of the new awards' favorite, Roma. Netflix, remember everyone was like, gee, do you think a Netflix movie could ever get nominated for an Oscar? And a lot of people in Hollywood were like, never! Well, today's the day, as it's the front runner. It's amazing. And that's because Netflix, bought the big names. They finally got talent on their side that Hollywood could not deny. I'm talking about Alfonso Cuarón and also the Coen brothers, who see a couple of really good noms for Buster Scruggs as well. Two really good movies, by the way. I think if you watch either film, you can't deny that they are movies, cinematic films, and not TV movies, as Hollywood has said is the case with anything that, is basically on streaming. And this is perfect timing for Netflix, just as Disney and Warner Brothers and even Universal close in with their own streaming services about to launch. That Netflix, just in the nick of time. Now, Roma, I reviewed this just last night because I suspected it would get I didn't think it would get this many nominations, but I knew it would be big today. So I just posted my review last night. And I have to say, the more and more I think about it, the more I talk to people, especially as I talk to people, personally, and they're like, I don't want to watch Roma. And I'm like, no. And as I try to convince them to watch it, I start to be like, it is really good. I still feel that it doesn't quite stand on its own, but if you do the research that I recommend in my video, just 2 articles you have to read, I think that you'll start to see why Roma is the front runner as well. I wonder what this is going to do to the ratings, though, for the Oscars, because this is probably the most obscure film that they've ever nominated. It's not even in theaters, really. It's just sitting there on Netflix right now with nobody watching it. Although, is that really that much different than the norm of the Oscar frontrunner sitting in an art house theater with nobody watching it, right? The other big thing that's interesting here is that Spike Lee's BlacKkKlansman has a ton of nominations. I really like that film. It ran into a little bit of trouble, with some people criticizing it and saying it didn't go far enough. You might remember that the Sorry to Bother You director had some choice words about it. And we thought maybe at the Golden Globes they were just kissing up to Spike Lee because they love celebrity so much, but the Academy has also honored it. So once again, it's time to play our favorite game, Who Should Win and Who Will Win, Oscars edition. And we have so many categories to go over. The links, the time links are down below in the video description if there's any category you can't wait to discuss. But we're going to start, of course, with Best Picture. Black Panther, this is a huge deal for Marvel. Now, the big question, of course, is will it actually win anything? I suspect maybe it won't. Well, there are a couple where I think it could. BlacKkKlansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Green Book, Roma, A Star is Born, and Vice. I don't love that this category is so expanded because a lot of these movies don't have a chance of winning. I think that obviously it's going to be Bohemian Rhapsody, Green Book, or Roma. 2 of those, of course, taking home the Golden Globe. And Roma couldn't qualify. It had to be foreign language over at the Golden Globes, but here it is for Best Picture. I think based on the sheer number of nominations here, it's probably going to go to Roma. I personally think that Bohemian Rhapsody deserves the win, and maybe it will. Maybe Roma will take home so many other awards, because remember, the Academy likes to be democratic in how it hands these things out, so maybe if Roma is recognized in so many other places, there are a couple where I think it's a shoo-in, maybe Bohemian Rhapsody or even Green Book will end up taking the top prize. All right, so Best Actor, Christian Bale for Vice, Bradley Cooper for A Star is Born, Willem Dafoe for At Eternity's Gate. I had to look up what movie that was. It's so off the radar. I was like, what's that Vincent Van Gogh movie again? Rami Malek for Bohemian Rhapsody, and Viggo Mortensen for Green Book. I think this is going to be Christian Bale. I think that his performance is just so incredibly... We'll see who wins the SAG Award, though. That's going to be very telling here. But his transformation in Vice is really amazing. But I do think that Rami Malek is strong competition. It could be either one of them. And I think personally it should be Rami Malek because Christian Bale already has an Oscar. So I would get somebody new in there. All right, next up, Best Actress. Now this is amazing. Yelida Aparicio for Roma, again taking Emily Blunt's spot. This is a school teacher from rural Mexico who answered a casting call, and as Alfonso Cuarón tells the story, brought her mother along to the audition because she was concerned it might be a front for human trafficking. That's amazing. And you know, the woman who plays her best friend is just because Alfonso Cuarón's like, who's your best friend? And she was like, this woman. And he's like, okay, she'll play your best friend in the movie to make it easier for you. She's not going to win, but it's going to be a great story to have her on the red carpet doing all the, the Oscars luncheon and everything. And it'll be interesting to see if this does launch an acting career for her. But at the very least, I think this is, I think very respectful of, I think that she was asked to carry the film as a non-actress, and I think she definitely does. So that's truly an amazing development. She's Oscars Cinderella this year, and everybody's going to be covering it. It's going to be a big deal. Then Glenn Close for The Wife, Olivia Colman for The Favorite, Lady Gaga for A Star Is Born, and Melissa McCarthy for Can You Ever Forgive Me. For Melissa McCarthy, that's great because her career is not going so well right now. She's really not been able to recover from Ghostbusters, and she doesn't do herself any favors with the crap movies she makes with her husband. And of course, Happy Time Murders, right? But anyway, this Oscar nomination gives her a little bit more credibility, and she can at least maybe work in smaller movies. But this is really Glenn Close's, particularly after her amazing Golden Globes speech. You could see an upset from Olivia Colman or Lady Gaga, but I really do think that this is Glenn Close's to lose. Expect to see her take the stage on Oscar night. Don't feel bad, Lady Gaga fans. She's nominated. She's certainly going to win Best Original Song, and she will certainly work again. I think it's a little disappointing considering we felt, when A Star Is Born came out, this was her march to Oscar, and so many other ingenues have won over the years. But I think that the Academy has turned away from that. I think it's not so popular with the votership, with the industry, and the votership has realized that, and so it's just unfortunate for Lady Gaga. Also, she's going up against a veteran who really needs to win an Oscar at some point in her career, and this seems like this is the chance. All right, so Best Supporting Actor: Mahershala Ali for Green Book, Adam Driver for Black Klansman. He's such a good actor. It's hard to tell that in Star Wars, but I'm glad that he's able to show it elsewhere. Sam Elliott for A Star Is Born, Richard E. Grant for Can You Ever Forgive Me, and Sam Rockwell for Vice. Now, we thought for a while there that Richard E. Grant was the shoo-in, and I do think he deserves to win, and he might be helped out by the fact that Mahershala Ali and Sam Rockwell both already have Oscars. Adam Driver could be an upset here. They got to give Black Klansman something, so this could be the thing they decide on, but I think it would be nice to see Richard E. Grant get recognized for this, and I don't think he'll ever be nominated again for sure, while Adam Driver likely will. Best Supporting Actress. Interestingly, Margot Robbie did not make the cut. Woo! Regina King got in there, and she'll probably win. But let's go through the category. So Amy Adams for Vice, Marina de Tavira for Roma. That's amazing. That's fantastic. I wouldn't have nominated her, quite frankly, but it's just more evidence of how much the Academy loves Roma. Regina King for If Beale Street Could Talk, and then Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz both for The Favorite. Remember The Favorite? Remember everybody thought The Favorite was going to dominate? Now it's like an afterthought. I think that this is Regina King's. There is a small chance that she could be beaten by Marina de Tavira. Depends how many Oscars they want to give Roma. And then also Amy Adams, who's, people might be feeling bad about what happened to her at the Golden Globes. She keeps getting snubbed. So maybe she could take it home. But I really do feel it's Regina King's. And then Best Director: Alfonso Cuarón for Roma, Yorgos Lanthimos for The Favorite, Spike Lee for Black Klansman, Adam McKay for Vice, and then Powell Pawlikowski for Cold War, another foreign language film. That's amazing to have 2 foreign language film directors in this category. I think Alfonso Cuarón is going to take it, and I think part of me feels that he should, because I'm so impressed with what he put together, even if I feel it doesn't totally play. The effort is truly Herculean, and there are elements that are so clever that once you know about them, that totally changes your perspective, and it's hard not to be really impressed. I could maybe see it going to Yorgos Lanthimos if Roma's taking everything else, but I really do think that's Cuarón's. All right, best adapted screenplay, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. This is so great. Black Klansman, Can You Ever, this is adapted, remember, based on other material. People had thought maybe Black Panther would be in here. It is not. Okay, so Black Klansman, Can You Ever Forgive Me? If Beale Street Could Talk, and A Star Is Born. Again, Black Klansman needs to win something. This could be it. I think that The Ballad of Buster Scruggs should win because it's also got to win something. And I think that it was very clever, interesting series of vignettes. So it might take this prize home. I would love to see it get something. If you haven't watched that and Roma, you've got some Netflixing to do. All right, so next, best original screenplay. So that means written directly for the screen. The Favorite. First Reformed, I hate that movie so much, but it got in there. Sorry, Hereditary fans, not a single nomination. Green Book, Roma, and Vice. I think that Green Book will probably win here because I think this might be its only win. So they're going to give it something, and it did also win screenplay over at the Golden Globes. Might be First Reform, though, because this is First Reform's only nomination, and so Paul Schrader, they might want to give him something for that film. And you never know. Green Book could end up walking away with Best Picture. I still think it's a three-way race at this point, though. All right, for Best Picture. Best Original Score. Now, this is wide open because First Man, who took home the Golden Globe, isn't even nominated. So, you've got Black Panther, Black Klansman, If Beale Street Could Talk, Isle of Dogs, and Mary Poppins Returns. I really think Black Panther could take this. I think it's a fantastic score. As I've told you, as we've discussed before, it incorporates both modern and African, traditional elements. I think it's great, and I think it should win and potentially will win because I don't think anything else there is that strong. Then Best Original Song, aka Lady Gaga's award. So let's talk about who's going to lose to her. All the Stars from Black Panther, I'll Fight from RGB, The Place Where Lost Things Go for Mary Poppins Returns. No big nominations for Mary Poppins Returns, but it's a little less embarrassing that at least it got a song nomination because, it is a musical. Shallow for A Star Is Born, and then When a Cowboy Trades His Spurs for Wings from Buster Scruggs. I can't wait to see that performed at the Oscars. It might convince a couple more people to watch that movie. I think that Shallow, of course, obviously is going to win. That might be the only win for A Star Is Born all night. And Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper are just going to have to accept it. But I do think that All the Stars, I would be very happy if that were to take it home. And then also, I got to say, the Buster Scruggs song is also very, very good. Then Best VFX, where Aquaman, this should be the shoo-in for Aquaman, but of course it's not even nominated. So the nominees are Avengers Infinity War, Christopher Robin, First Man, Ready Player One, and Solo, A Star Wars Story. I think that Christopher Robin and Solo are both ridiculous nominations, and Aquaman should have replaced either one of them. But as for the other three, I feel all of those could potentially win. I'd probably, it's difficult to say who will win. I think Avengers Infinity War, Thanos is a very impressive creation. But then at the same time, First Man really does a great job recreating the space race in the 1960s, which is, and makes it look very authentic, which is hard to do. And then Ready Player One is basically an animated movie, which is also very impressive. And that shining sequence alone, I think, is worthy of an Oscar. So we'll see who, I guess if I had to say who should win, I would go with maybe Ready Player One for what they were able to recreate. All right, then Best Cinematography. Cold War, The Favorite, Never Look Away, Roma, and A Star Is Born. Roma, hands down. If you read about, again, you got to read about Roma. And as I said in my review, Alfonso Cuarón must be doing an amazing Oscar campaign. The stories he has to tell. And one of them is that on Roma, it's his first movie he's ever shot. He's done a little cinematography before, but this is his first movie. And he would go to such lengths to make sure he had the contrast that he wanted visually that he would have the costume designer sometimes dye just part of the clothing and change different things on set with the production designer to get that just right contrast. And it's amazing. It was worth the effort. So I think for sure he will win and should win. Best Production Design, Black Panther, The Favorite, First Man, Mary Poppins Returns, and Roma. I think Black Panther deserves to win this also for the way it incorporates classical African elements. But I think that The Favorite could potentially take it because it needs something, and this might be it. And of course, Hollywood loves period pieces. But then also Roma, because again, Alfonso Cuarón can walk up there with a tear in his eye and talk about how he found, 70% of the furniture in the house in the movie is his actual childhood furniture that he got out of storage and from relatives. Stuff like that wins Oscars. So that might win production design. I told you, he's got such a great story. All right, best costume design. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, Black Panther, The Favorite, Mary Poppins Returns, and Mary Queen of Scots. Again, I'd really like to see Black Panther take this home. Really good mix-up of modern and classic. But you know what? I'd also be really interested to see Buster Scruggs take it, because I thought they created such a wonderful 1950s kind of Western. It was really cool to see. Then Best Makeup and Hair. Again, they only have 3 nominees usually in this category. So you've got Border, Mary Queen of Scots, and Vice. It's Vice's. I mean, the transformations they were able to do, not only to Christian Bale, but also Sam Rockwell, are incredible. And so I think that I will win for sure and deserves to win. Then, Best Animated Feature. It's happening! Okay, Incredibles 2, Isle of Dogs, Mirai, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's gonna win. I think it's gonna win. If it doesn't win, it's like we riot. But I think it will win, and this will be a huge breakthrough, not only for comic book movies, but of course for non-Disney animation. And I think hopefully we'll light a little fire under Disney saying, you gotta be a little more experimental, because you can, although Disney made so much more money than Into the Spider-Verse, it's a little disheartening. But Spider-Verse's hold week to week has been very good, so maybe it'll get there, particularly if it wins the Oscar, and then potentially it'll find even more viewers on streaming. Please watch Into the Spider-Verse if you haven't seen it. It's award-winning! All right, Best Foreign Language Film. Capernaum, Cold War, Never Look Away, Roma, and Shoplifters. Now, Roma could win here, maybe instead of Best Picture, right? It could win both, if the Academy wants to go there. Or, maybe if Roma's going to win Best Picture, they'll give it to something like Shoplifters, which comes out in streaming February 12th. I really want to see that, because I've heard very good things about this movie out of Japan. And in another year, that or Cold War would have been the front runners here. Maybe Cold War could take it, actually, also instead of Roma, if Roma locks out Best Picture. Then finally, Best Documentary. Unfortunately, Won't You Be My Neighbor was snubbed, so that frees it up for RBG for sure. But the nominees are Free Solo, Hail Country, Minding the Gap, Of Fathers and Sons, and RBG. And I think RBG will definitely win it. The only question is, her health's been a little bit touch and go lately, but will Ruth Bader Ginsburg attend the ceremony? Oh, that would be great. I think she'll do it. She's got to do it. So those are the nominees for the 2019 Oscars. What do you think? What do you think of Netflix's dominance? Will you watch Roma now? Write your thoughts down below. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.